in your social media, they'll just like
Oh,
flies, they'll swarm in and be like, "I see you need more traffic on your campaign. I
oh
can
my
help."
God.
I had one say yesterday, would you like to get backers on your campaign? So I just responded, no, I just do this for fun.
Aw.
I can't stand these things.
You know,
Jesus.
it would be
Every
fun.
time.
It would be fun if there was like an actual human being like behind the thing to mess with, but
Right.
it's
Yeah.
really all just bots. Like it's like robocalls. Like I used to love to mess with telemarketers and just say like batshit crazy things to them, and it's like you can't do that to a robot now. Like times have
No.
changed.
No, but the
Yeah.
funny part is when they give a robo response to that, that totally is irrelevant to what you had said.
Oh yeah, it's
It's just
absolutely like
humorous.
unhinged.
It's humorous.
So
Oh,
says the voice from hell.
you gotta love
Yes.
this. Jay, you brought up a good point. I've been wanting to discuss this for a while because it bugs me out because I share everybody's campaign. So every time I share somebody's campaign, all of a sudden here comes the bot. Hey, we can help you with that. I'm like, you want to share it too? Sure, go ahead.
Are you the true person behind this campaign? Because I can help you get 50,000 people to back your
Hi,
campaign.
Ray.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Sorry, I can't say that without thinking of Goonies. So
Oh.
All right, Phil, your turn. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Wait,
Nurse
he
by
needs to pay us
day,
first.
publisher by night. What did he say?
pay me money.
You need to pay us first.
Give that man his money.
Do the super chat. The super chat.
Exactly.
So I run Philbo Publishing. I've got, I don't know, I think 7 or 8 titles out right now, and I have a lot more coming this year. And right now we're on Diary of Dread. Hey, Victor. And Diary of Dread is basically a horror, I call it a magazine because it's 156 pages, 5 full-length stories, one 10-page preview by Marvel writer Charles Santino. It's horror in the vein of the old EC comics or even Creepshow, Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, stuff like that. And it's been getting great reviews by true horror fans because I like to, go to people who won't placate. I want them to let me know if I suck. So, um, anyway, we've got covers by Ben Templesmith from 30 Days of Night, Tom Mandrake from Batman, Spectre, Martian Manhunter, Alex Sarabia, who is working on the comic adaptation of New York Ripper right now, which is a 70s horror film. And Kevin Stewart did a cover. And I'm excited. It's my first venture into horror writing. There's some reviews out there saying it's actually my best writing so far. That's for you to decide. And I really recommend you pick it up. We have a black and white version and a color version. I know some horror fans, they love black and white. It's, the traditional, but some people, they really want to see that color. So we got both versions for you. And if you buy both, we take, there's a discounted tier if you want to get both versions. We're going to be adding metal covers next week. And the original Tom Mandrake cover art is available on the campaign. A whole host of artists and colorists and everybody a part of this. And I just want to say thanks to that team. They really gave me a fantastic looking book. I mean, I'm the writer and the creator, but without them, it's all just in my head. So I want to say thank you to them. And one of the artists said that after reading it, he thinks that I might be a closet psycho. So it's horror. It's violent. It's gory. There's some twists that you won't see coming. Nobody has seen the twist coming. So go pick it up. Check it out. I really think you'll like it. You won't be disappointed.
Dude, this stuff looks great. It looks like the classic horror stuff from the old days, the olden days.
I'm telling you, it has twists. Every story has a twist that'll just smack you right in the face. You don't even see it coming. So I'm proud of that.
And it looks great. The art looks fantastic. The covers, of course, like I said, they look classic.
Yeah, we went with the old EC Comics kind of cover trade dress. We wanted to pay an homage to them. And then we got our 2 little mascots. Like instead of the Crypt Keeper, we've got Levi and Lilith, the evil little twins, psycho kids.
I think children are far scarier than the Crypt Keeper anyway.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And I have
The
them.
concept of children is scarier than
Oh god, horrifying! Absolutely. In this economy, no, thank you.
Well,
Not
Jay,
just
Jay,
economy,
Jay is
this-
always very kind when I'm at conventions that Jay is at. He entertains my daughters. They go over and they talk to him all day.
We have fun. We enjoy it.
Yeah, he.
So you
he
mean
keeps them
Evil
out of
Kip
trouble.
doesn't bother you when they're there?
Evil
What's
Kip
it?
doesn't show up. He's
Yeah,
invited.
Evil Kip
He
hasn't
just-
shown up for a long time.
No, I
Evil-
think that says something. In order to defeat Evil Kip, we just need to bring scarier kids.
I'll bring him my youngest. She's a feisty little one. She'll fight anybody. She'll fight anybody.
There
this
you
is
go, Jay.
cute.
You have the solution.
Well, I mean, Evil Kip versus a kid. I could see it happening.
She can do an elbow off the top rope. I think she might be pretty good at that, actually.
Didn't Evil Kip say that he would put sixth graders in their place?
I think he did.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember that.
She's fourth grade. My oldest is sixth grade, so we might have to start with the older one.
Wait, but they're scarier the younger they are. So I think
Oh.
Yeah,
fourth
they're
graders.
even more ruthless.
Yeah.
My
Younger
little
there.
one. My little one.
See,
She
you
was
have
getting in
first-hand
ring.
experience. I think we have something going on here.
Mm.
Kip versus Kaylee. That's her name. So Kip and Kaylee.
Oh, that works.
I don't know. If
I
she's
like
truly evil, they might team up though. So watch out.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no.
Seriously,
Thank
I
you,
respect
Ryan. It's very
Amaya
kind of you to
for
say.
how hard he works and how much he loves what he does.
Listen, you got to read that in the radio voice. Come on.
Oh, hold on. Seriously, I respect Amaya Phil for how hard he works and how much he loves what he does.
There we go.
When he speaks in that voice, I'm waiting for the Barry White song to come on and the fireplace and the
Fireplace. Yes.
And the bearskin rug.
yeah.
Exactly. Come on, baby. Light the fire.
I don't know.
When I hear him do it, I'm just expecting like the Christmas music to start playing. Like, this is your cup of 78,900 FM. Now for the new singles.
It's time for holiday
Oh
music.
no.
Are we gonna break into a Colt 45 commercial?
Yeah, right.
There we go.
Everybody knows Colt 45 is the drink. It's so cool.
Yeah, but you'll never be as cool as Lando.
No way, man. I'm not even gonna try. Dude, I love his commercials. I still remember the Colt 45
Yep.
commercial. Oh my
That's
god.
right.
He did a great job.
Hey, Glenn.
Let's see.
What's up, Glenn?
Hey,
So
Glenn.
let me ask you this, guys. I know that lately the Kickstarters have they kind of drudge along. It's been getting difficult enough just to fund your books. You think is it just an oversaturation of the Kickstarter market, or is it something else?
I'll let Jay
Either
go
one of you.
first.
It's all, you know what? I think about this a lot because I look at my campaign. My campaign isn't exactly making like 18 figures or anything crazy like that, and that's fine. I approach Kickstarter in a very simple way. It just gives an avenue for my book. If you want the book, it's there. The goal is not super high, so it's I want to make sure we fund and make sure that whoever wants that get a couple of dollars in my pocket to offset whatever costs we have. But it's also about knowing your audience. And when you look at the popular books on Kickstarter, they have a lot in common with certain things.
Kids.
You have, I wasn't going to say that out loud. You got kids in the house. Wait, let me be politically correct. There are not safe for work books that do extremely well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to question, the quality of the story, the inside, are people even reading that?
Mhm.
People buy covers. People love covers. So that's one part of it. Another part is, books that are child friendly might not necessarily do well on Kickstarter because
Nope.
children are not, they don't have credit cards. So
That's true.
Right.
children buying on Kickstarter might not exactly be the best avenue to go for a children's book on Kickstarter might not be wise. This is a hybrid. This is, Just the Cane and Potico is definitely an all ages book.
Yes,
It has the wrestling audience. So if wrestling, that's the crossover. It has the Bill and Ted humor. So if you like comedy, but again, knowing your audience and knowing what to expect is key. You know, I believe there's a couple of really big name comic creators who just launched Kickstarters. You know, Brian Polito, for example, he does gangbusters on these things.
Yeah.
Sean Gordon Murphy I think he just wrapped up his Zorro book. I mean, you're competing with named independent, you know, named artists, named creators. Jimmy Palmiotti's another one. He's got a great book going. Justin Gray just launched another one. These guys have done this for a long time in the industry for the big two, you know, for Image, for DC, for Marvel. And now they're branching out on their own. And the reasons that they're choosing to do that are theirs. I don't know enough about, you know, what their purpose is and why they decided to veer away from, say, DC and Marvel.
Money.
I've heard rumors, but good on them. They have their following, they have their fan base. So knowing your audience loves your art, your audience loves, you know, the books you've put out. They're happy to support you independently. You make $500,000. You know, that's excellent. So I think that's one of the big things. Is it an oversaturation? It very well could be. You know, but you go into a Barnes and Noble if you can find one. There's an oversaturation of books there as well. So it's like, how do you find that book that you're looking for that's going to connect with you? Phil, your book looks fantastic. You tackled the horror avenue of comics. You have blood, guts, and gore, right? So that appeals to a certain audience as well. And, you know, for many people, this is the time of year for a book along those lines.
Yep.
So, you know, I think it all depends on that stuff. You kind of got to take the risk, tailor your expectations, and move from there. You know, it all depends on that. I know a lot of people, myself included, who would launch a Kickstarter and, you know, you're like, am I going to make back what I did? And it's like, yeah. Oh,
you
Cthulhu.
know, I made a deal with the devil and it still didn't work. And I'm like, I'm just shit out of luck now.
Listen, a good buddy of mine, Phil knows him, Ralph knows him. You know, Pat Shand. Hi, Pat. How are you? He has this great book, Cthulhu. You know, it's a Cthulhu book, and it's all about selling your soul to Cthulhu for a Kickstarter. It's fantastic. It's got dark humor in it. And that's, you know, I messaged him the other day. I'm like, man, I should have paid him. I should have sacrificed. I didn't make it. And then there's always, you know, through Pilot Studios a couple of years back, we launched Always Punch Nazis, and that caught the attention of a certain comic group that that really garnered some interest in that book. In a way, it's like, you know, they say any press is good press. Well, this group started attacking Kickstarter and started attacking us and started based on a title, mind you.
Believe that.
Always Punch Nazis.
That is wild.
Based on a title, they started attacking, and it drew so much attention to it that by the time they figured out they were making us money, they finally stopped attacking the book. But that's being put together right now, actually, as an upcoming hardcover anthology where we're collecting all 3 volumes into a nice, handy-dandy hardcover book.
Nice.
It's always that way. Like people that are offended at something,
They share it more.
They make more money. So, you know.
So, well, it's like Howard Stern said.
Best to stay quiet. Like, let it go. But,
well, it's like in Howard Stern, Private Parts. They go, the average person who likes you listens for an hour, and the average person who hates you listens for 2 hours. And he's like, well, why? That makes no sense. They go, because they want to hear what you have to say next. When you're perpetually offended by everything, you want to find things to offend you. So you're going to listen longer. You're going to pay attention more. And that controversy, unfortunately, brings attention to that person. I mean, it's good for the person, but it's unfortunate that that's how they have to get the attention instead of the merits of a good product. But, you know, that's human race. And I think besides being oversaturated on Kickstarter, which is true, I think Jay had touched on it. It's a collector's thing now. Readers aren't necessarily going to Kickstarter. They're going to a comic shop for a $5 comic, not Kickstarter for a $15 to $20 comic. And what you're getting is the collectors, and that's why the booby books do really well, because they're collectors. Now, like Jay said, I don't really know if anybody's reading them, and if they do, it's probably only once, because then the pages are stuck together and you can't open the book again. But You know, so I think that's part of it. It's a collector thing. And as far as like the big names, you know, people don't seem to remember these big names went through distribution. They were Marvel, they were DC, or even if, you know, Chaos Comics at the time, he was in distribution. And then they came over to crowdfunding and they brought that fan base they got from distribution to there. So that's different than what we're doing. We're trying to start out here. And lastly, I would say the big names right now, they're still doing like mega numbers, but they're still only half of what they usually do. So what do? They've doubled up on their campaigns. Once one ends, the other one is beginning. And that is basically forcing people to make a decision on Kickstarter. Do I want to get Jay's book because I really think it looks cool and I like wrestling and the humor's awesome? But man, Polito's got another book, and I love Lady Death, and she's more popular, and I love the metal covers, and I love the foils, and I love everything, and I can only afford one right now. Brian Polito is probably going to win out over guys like me or Jay, you know, and that's nothing against Jay's quality, of course, but it's just people go with familiarity, and you know what's famous and what's popular. So I think that's part of it as well. And Kickstarter is being used as a distribution hub and an online shop, and
Yeah.
that's not really what it was meant for.
No.
It's changed. It's now being it's now being used as distribution, direct market distribution to your fan base, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But Kickstarter hasn't helped change the model. For example, their algorithms suck. If you're not making a ton of money, they don't want to invest the time in bumping you up an algorithm because they don't care about 11% of a $3,000 campaign. They want 11% of a $500,000 campaign. So the guys who don't need the advertising are the ones they're bumping up in the algorithm, and the guys like us that would love to have it are buried. And I think that's part of it too.
I agree. I mean,
Mhm.
you're not wrong. I mean, I always use myself as a gauge because when I build something, I'm like, what would I do? You know, if I'm sharing links, how often do I scroll by somebody's links when I don't know who they are? And that's on just social media. And even right now, there's some good friends out there who have books out that I'm like, I just can't support this one right now because,
Right.
you know, a hardcover collection, as amazing as it is, $50 isn't bad. I just don't have it. I don't
Right.
have the $50 to spend because
Exactly.
5 or 6 of my friends, and I'm talking like good friends that I
Right.
talk to on a regular basis, are all running campaigns at the
At the same
same
time.
time.
That is
Yeah.
my struggle right now. Like there
Yeah.
so many people have launched so many cool projects in October and November. Like I think
Yep.
between September through November I probably backed like 15 or 16 campaigns, but like dude, I don't got a lot of money, so I just have to put like, you know, $5 here for digital, $5 there for digital, or if it's like, you know, a catch up tier or whatever, like $12, and like that shit adds up,
Yeah.
dude.
And it's tough because with us, our print costs are high because we're not doing thousands of a print run. So we have to charge extra more for the book to cover the 11% Kickstarter fee, the printing costs, the shipping is part
Yeah.
of that. So for the $15 to get my book on Kickstarter, a reader can go get 3 books for $5 each at a local comic shop, and
Exactly.
of books that they know the characters that they like. So we're also fighting that.
That is, and that's the grind right there. It's building your campaign. You know, our buddy over there said, you know, Polito spent 30 years building his
Yep.
his name. And he's right. You know, we're all doing that. Jimmy Palmiotti. I mean, you go back into the late 90s and you're talking about, you know, was it Marvel Max and everything there? These guys have been at this a very long time,
Yep.
and you're competing with a loyal fan base.
Yep.
And like you said, Phil, prices that can at times be cheaper because they have such a high print count, printing count. And you know, our margins just are what they are. You know, you have to do what it is to get the books out there. And sometimes
There's also
the
a
books are a
perceived
little,
value in a Lady Death limited to 25 with
Oh,
Adam
yeah.
Hughes on the cover.
Yeah,
You know, I
definitely.
mean, there's a value there. So
collectability, like you said before, is huge.
I
And
will
just
pretend to know what you guys are talking about.
Collecting, that sounds like something people with money do.
Oh no, not the collecting. I just have no idea what these names and characters are.
It always bugs me out when Nat is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, now I know.
I've been lost for so long. Like I actually need to like, where are we right now?
So this explains why Evil Kip was able to take over so easily last week. He's like, look over there, Nate, sugar cookies. Where? And next thing you know, the whole show is over.
Listen,
That makes
I'm
a lot
just
of
waiting
sense.
for the next volume of My Happy Marriage, man. Like that's my story right now.
But it's so funny how like color, like these variant covers are all the rage now, but at the same time, like the what we want out of these stories, a lot of this, what we want from Marvel, DC, that kind of passion, it's like on the covers. It's not really on the inside of the book anymore. Like you get the book, the artwork's not that good, the story sucks, but the covers are like, I mean, this is Carrie Andrews cover of like Spider-Man with big eyes, like I like, with Mary Jane with curly hair, just like the '90s. Oh wow, this is great. You buy the book and
it's like bait and switch completely because like the interiors are absolutely
fighting. And it's like yeah.
And that's
Like,
why I wish we would have a better distribution model for LCS for indie guys, because there are some really well-written books in the indie community that are by people that have a passion for this industry. We're not corporate led. We don't have shareholders to appease. There's no agenda that we're trying to push or message to send. We just want to entertain you. You know, if you pick up Jay's book, you're going to laugh. You're going to enjoy the wrestling part of it. You're going to feel that, like he said, the Bill and Ted's vibe. You're going to have a good time reading this book and enjoying it. It's not a gimmick. It's not a corporate thing. It's not an agenda-driven thing. But again, how many people are going to know about it when you don't have nationwide distribution? So I'm hoping that Diamond and Lunar, or we could restructure things, or we could get back to spinner racks. There has to be something that's going to get readership to grow again, because comics are suffering because it's become a collector market, not a reader market, and we need readers. You know, and like Jay said, you know, kid-friendly comics are not going to sell on Kickstarter because that's a collector's market. Kids aren't the ones buying the books. But if we can get into stores, you know, kids walking in with their father, the father or the mother are picking up their books. Okay, I'll get the kid a book too, and the kid picks up your kid-friendly book.
Oh, before Phil went in there, I heard two key things, right? The covers look great. Variant covers, and it's just like the 90s. Who wants a history lesson on 90s comics?
Right?
Please no, I wasn't born yet.
Oh, Jesus.
Go find the sugar cookies. Santa's coming.
No, just give me an anime or a manga, please.
It's funny though, because I keep
Goku.
sitting here.
Goku where?
Sitting here going, okay, we don't want a repeat of the 90s. We do not want a repeat of the 90s, you know? And I feel like everybody's sitting there going, let's repeat the 90s. And I'm like, no, we don't want a repeat of the 90s.
Come on, everything was so edgy, and everyone had like 50,000 pouches and belt buckles, and there's like motorcycles everywhere, and like it was
but
so
we also
cool,
had
right,
like
guys?
good cyberpunk stories in the 90s.
It was very bombastic, the 90s.
Listen, there were some great things in the 90s. I stand by, like 92 X-Men was fantastic. You had Batman Nightfall, Night's End.
Yeah.
That whole run was brilliant. The Death of Superman was well done.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the three off the top of my head, right? And then later into the 90s, it became a cover show. It became everything about, you know, these amazing covers. Image Comics starts in the 90s. And guys, has anyone read early Image work today? Has anyone gone back and read some of those?
No.
Those early books.
Back and read them. I remember them the last time.
Well, now you have to explain because you brought it up.
So early Image books, and nothing against the Image crew that launched it all. The books looked fantastic, and the stories might have been very suspect.
Oh dear.
Some of them, like anything, some of them are amazing. Some of them are brilliant. Some people I'm probably offending right now because they probably think all these stories were the most amazing thing ever. But some of them were delayed months upon months for like from one issue to another. And the story, as Phil was saying before, you know, the interior story was suffering. And I tell everybody, listen, the cover gets you through the door. If you launch a great book one, if you're planning on launching a series, you launch book one, the cover will get you in. The cover will do what it does. It should draw your eye. It should be something catching and something that makes you want to buy that book. That story gets you to come back for number two.
Yes, 10,000%.
And if you don't have a quality story, of course, this all goes with somebody opening the book and actually reading it. If you're just a cover purchaser, if you're just buying the art, the interior story doesn't matter. And some people launch Kickstarters like that. They're like, hey, I'm going to put together this amazing set of covers, 15, 20 variant covers, go crazy.
15, 20, no, that's rookie stuff. We're talking like 50 covers there, dude.
You could do 50, 52. Hey, I've heard of that before, right?
Yeah.
52 covers seems like a magic number.
52.
And then you end up inside that book and you're like, well, I put out these amazing covers and I don't really care too much about the story inside. So even if it's mediocre, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That mediocre story for the person who reads it does not come back for number two.
Right. Another issue is you look at the delays in Image Comics and it hurt them badly. And those were big names. So now you look at Kickstarter and I launched Tragedy #1 and you know it's not coming to number 2 for another 3 or 4 months. That doesn't help either. You know, people forget, they move on, or they have short attention spans sometimes. So
or like major life changes where like they can't afford to back it at that time. And then they're like, oh, well, I'll wait for number 3. And then by the time number 3 rolls around, like maybe they forget, maybe they don't care anymore or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if delays can hurt superstars in Image, imagine what it does to guys like me who are nobody, you know?
McFarlane once spoke about like those delays. He said like, well, when you work for Image, it's like when you create a character, it's not like working for Marvel. It's yours. It's your character. Everything there is yours. So all the money goes to you. So an artist would come along and he'd do a book, he'd do a comic, and here's a check for $50,000. This artist has never seen $50,000 in his life. He's never seen a check like that. So he's not gonna produce something every month. He's like, I already got paid. I got $50,000. So that
like, dude, I'm set for the year. Peace out.
Yeah. So that artist.
No, I'm good with making $50,000 a month.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but like this artist would go spend all his money, buy his house, buy all this and that. Then the IRS came along.
Oh,
no. we want that money. So they will be back.
Did I hear tax evasion?
So that was something that Image had to learn. A lot of artists, Image had to learn the hard way. Yeah, like no.
Well, they were living celebrity lives. I mean, they became superstars.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were really young, and they, you know, they didn't have the maturity to deal with that fandom, that fame, you know, and the quality of the books or the timeliness of the books suffered for it.
Yeah.
And Phil, to go back to what you were saying before about like number 1 to number 2, I learned early on with indie comics, early on when I first started writing, and Just a Cane and Podico is written like this. All my number 1s are written like this. It's an open closed story. At the end of that book, you're satisfied. There's no need for number 2 because you never know if number 2 is on the way. You know, unless you have that seed money that allows you to, like Phil was saying, create number 1, 2, 3, 4 at the same time. Number 2 just might not happen. You might not have the funds to bring out number 2, or it could be 6, 7, 8 months, a year to make its return. You know, Saturn and Orion's the first full book I wrote. I wrote that number 1, open closed story. It ends. Everyone's satisfied. They go home. It's a one shot, but number 2 was in the works ever since, and it's been years, and it's only just coming out now because of certain happenstances in life that are allowing it to come out because of
Did Kip sabotage it?
No.
Can we be sure about that?
Kip wasn't quite evil back then. Honestly,
we don't know that.
Well,
he probably had it in him all along.
He wasn't evil.
He may have.
Yeah, but origin story. He used to be good, and then this happened.
Yeah, and then Jay almost broke his rib, is what I was hearing.
You know what was funny? When you guys said rib to him, he didn't know what you were talking about. He's like, rib? What kind of rib? Are
No, he
these
didn't.
spare ribs? Are these ribs? Everyone does a rib. It's wrestling ribs. And then you're like, no, he slipped on an icy patch. And he's like, oh, the icy patch. Yeah, he almost broke my rib.
That was the origin story.
That's funny.
That's how he became evil, right?
It's funny that you say that, Jay, because our pal Ben Goldsmith recently, like, he did his number 2 for second place, and it didn't go anywhere. It kind of like just and he was saying, like, really early on, I think this book is going to be the first book that I don't fund.
Oh, no.
And this was
So
like
he
with
wanted
like
that
half.
funding, right?
Yeah, this was like
wanted
half the
that funding,
campaign,
right? Yeah.
and he got stuck at 1642. And he was only trying to reach 3,500, and it just stayed there. It didn't move. It didn't go anywhere.
I saw it go backwards one day. It was at like 27, and then it went down to 25, and I was like, "Oof! Oh my god!"
Yeah, people
one of
understand how
those.
heartbreaking that is. That is
Mhm.
heartbreaking to pour your heart into this story and want to get it out there and for this to happen. I feel for indie people because Kickstarters are an emotional roller coaster. I mean, you
Yeah.
go up and down. You feel
It's
good one minute, you feel
psychological
like
abuse.
a failure.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you feel like a
Yeah.
failure. You feel like a success. You feel like a failure again. You get frustrated. You look at, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. You look at booby books that have no substance, making 40,000. You're like, for crying out loud! No, I
You're
don't
like, I'm
begrudge.
doing the wrong thing with my comics.
Yeah, I don't begrudge anybody's success. If you know you found your demographic and they want to buy the book, and I'm not knocking them for making 40 grand. Good for them. But I'd like to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
But with
You know?
like better
Exactly.
content.
Yeah. So it really is. It's very hard.
He said knock.
Phil, you sound like a writer right there. Every roller coaster up and down, and then you launch the book because it's like
Yeah.
when you're sitting there cracking a story and you're breaking it down, and like I teach 6th graders, right? So I'll sit there and explain to them the hardest thing a writer has to do is stare at a blank screen. Just that screen of white with nothing there is the
Right.
most intimidating thing ever. You could write 3 words on that screen and it's less intimidating.
Absolutely.
Could I maybe add what is now probably a more important, harder thing? Promoting their own book when it's out.
Oof.
That's
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
hard.
I'm gonna just come out and say
Horrible.
that happens way too often.
Yeah.
Yep.
You cannot depend on anybody else to love your book as much as you love your book.
Nope.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that goes for, I don't care what company you work for. I don't care. I don't care who you are. If you're working at Marvel, if you're working at Image, I'll go with New York Comic Con this year. New York Comic Con was an interesting place to be.
Definitely.
Indeed, it was.
Yeah.
But you go around and you see people in different locations. And one of the people I've known for a long time, just in passing and constant seeing at these shows, is Kyle Higgins. Kyle worked at DC. He did Boom Studios. He did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He had great runs on these books. Then he kind of veered away from comics for a little while, and he came back with Radiant Black. If you haven't seen Radiant Black, I highly recommend check it out. Pick up Just the Cane and Podico, find Phil. I don't care what Phil has launched, and then buy Radiant Black. So there you go. That's the order of things. Okay, go that route. But third on the list, get Radiant Black, because Kyle pushes this book like it's nobody else's business but his. And that's what it is. He had a corner booth at New York Comic Con this year. He had cardboard standees. He had a display that could have easily been an artist alley, but he rolled the dice, and he believes in his product more than anybody else out there. And he's making sure everybody that can hear about it hears about it from him. And then anybody else that wants to talk about it, like I'm doing right here. So again, find Just a Cane and Podico, find Phil. Phil, guarantee you has something coming, and if you miss this one, he'll have something coming in like 3 months down the line. And then go find Radiant Black and check it out, because that's the reality right there. You love your books. If you want somebody else to like your books, you got to talk about your books. And I apologize to anybody who has been on my social media in the past 3 weeks. maybe even a month and a half, because that's all you're going to see. My
Yeah.
kids have no longer been popping up on my social media.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Well, you bring up another good point. Everybody will create a buzz and talk about the She-Hulk streaming show or Marvel and DC. You'll even get the comic book, news sites. They talk about the big companies, but no one's creating a buzz about us other than us.
Right.
I have a lot of loyal people that love my writing, and they collect my books, and I'm very grateful to them. And this is not like a complaint, just a factual statement. But they're not going out there and creating a buzz, going, "Oh my God, have you guys read the latest tragedy or Diary of Dread or have whatever," and creating like an interest and a buzz like they would about the latest TV show on Netflix. So that's another component that's missing. And to Jay's point, that's what we have to do. And some people don't understand. It's not narcissism that every post every day I'm making is about my book. It's survival. It's trying to, books cost money, and we're hiring people, and to hire these people, you have to pay them a fair wage. Um, you have to shares, likes are gratefully appreciated, but it does come to a point where we need financial backing. There has to be revenue in this industry, so we can build capital and put it back into the business. And that's just the sad truth. It's a money world. And if I could give you my books for free, I would, but they cost money, and I don't have that money. So we need that support. We need that backing. And I know you do, Carlos, and I appreciate you very much. And you put out some great books too. But what I mean is, there's no like conversation started. Aaron, you don't do crap for me. Go to hell. But,
wait, we have somebody from hell here with us.
Yeah.
Aaron, voice. Nice
no, I don't want him.
I tried.
All right. Yeah. So I come from a webcomics background. I started doing webcomics like a decade ago, at least. And it's like, you would see a lot of webcomics pop up, and then they'd kind of like fade off into existence because like the creator couldn't keep it going. But the thing that always pissed me off was like once, someone stopped doing a webcomic, suddenly you would see people on social media going like, "Oh man, I really miss that webcomic.
Right.
I wonder what happened to it." And I'm like, "Bro, like, did you put like $1 in their Patreon? Did you like buy their books when it came out? Like, you did absolutely nothing to support this creator, and then you wonder like why they couldn't afford to continue." Like,
Right.
okay, well they had to go and like work at Walmart instead, and like that's draining. You can't make comics after that.
Listen, it's the old Toys R Us analogy. Oh my goodness, how could Toys R Us go out of business? I can't believe this store I've known forever is out of business. I can't believe it. That's the worst thing ever. When's the last time you shopped there? I haven't been there in like 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's true. Well, I think there's this weird thought that money just appears out of nowhere, right? I mean, like, oh wow, they made books, they just magically appear. No, I got to pay artists, editors, trade dressers and logo designers and printing, and it's just there's a lot. Books are expensive to make. I mean, right, Jay? I mean, yeah, we write them, but they cost. You got to pay artists, and I don't know. It's just, and
they're also
marketing.
Expensive to ship, like deceptively expensive.
International.
Anytime I've set like a shipping budget on any of my Kickstarters, I'm like, okay, this should be covered, and then it's like all of a sudden it's still like way over at the end of like fulfilling everything. I'm like, what is going on here?
Ship just sent me a message that USPS is raising their rates again because, of course, it's the holidays and they're going to price gouge you for the holidays. So they're going up anywhere from 7 to 10%.
No, I don't want it.
It's the most wonderful time
of the year.
It is definitely. I mean, shipping is always a wild card too, because again, like I said, I use myself. I gauge based on myself. What would I pay for an item? What do I normally pay for things? Because that's about, page count. Am I going to pay $15 for a 22-page book? Yeah, probably, right? Maybe.
And people charge like $17 for like a 22-page book.
Would I pay $25? Would I pay $25 plus shipping for a 22-page book? Unfortunately, I keep scrolling at that point. I can't. And then there's, shipping. It's like, okay, shipping is tough because on principle, it's like if somebody charges me $15 to ship a 22-page comic, I can't, and that might just be what it costs them to ship. International books, like I said, I feel bad for anybody.
It's like $35.
Yeah, I think I even set mine at $30. I think I'm willing to like lose money because I'm like $35. It's just wild. But that's what it costs.
Oh, have you tried the pirate ship simple export thingy? They have a service now that they ship international packages for cheaper because it goes through them as like a third party thing. So it's like if you ship to like Europe or the UK or whatever, it might be like $18 for like a 1 pound
Really?
package.
I
Yeah,
gotta
check
look
it
at
out.
that.
And how
Yeah, it's
often
good
do
stuff.
you get that message saying like you just how could you pay so much for shipping, or how could you charge this for shipping? It's just like, guys, it's shipping. I can't
They don't
control
get it.
that.
Like, dude,
They don't
I'm
get
not
it.
like hand delivering this myself, and if I was, it would cost a hell of a lot more. But I mean,
They
you
also don't
can't control the
understand
post office.
it's not just the shipping. It's I had to pay to bag and board it. I had to pay for the Gemini. I have to pay for tape. I have to pay to bubble wrap it if it's something fragile. You know, supplies to ship cost money too.
Especially that damn bubble wrap. Gets you
You know, I
every
mean, you
time.
don't want damages. We have to pack it nicely. Packing costs money. Tape costs money. Everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
It
So
is definitely.
It's a good thing my OnlyFans does very well.
I put this up there from what you guys are saying, because Son of Saint just put this up there, and he's been talking about the fact that maybe he's gonna quit next year.
Wow.
And that kind of says something, and it kind of rung in my head, and I remember the Son of Saint had put this up, going, I think I'm not gonna do this anymore.
I feel him. It's rough, especially if he's like his own art department, because then it's like he's not really paying himself. Yeah, like I'm going through the same problem because I do like the writing and the art, and I'm not getting paid enough to do it. I'm like, what am I gonna do next year?
And his life changed big time having those two beautiful little twins there.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. So he has to get some money flowing, and I think that's what's going on, is that he's not getting jobs, and it's making it difficult for him to stay in the game.
Yeah.
His
art is fantastic. Yeah.
It's sad because that's reality, right? That's just, I don't know. I think it goes through everybody's head at times too. It's like, do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to keep doing this? And then all of a sudden that itch starts, and like,
yeah,
like I gotta write this story. I gotta do this. Like even today, I was like, I was doing something at work, day job, and I'm like, I think I want to write a prose. I think I want to do this, and I'm like, why am I pounding my head against the desk right now thinking of this? But the itch gets there, and all of a sudden you find yourself at a computer typing, and you're like, all right, I'm doing this.
That's what happens to me all the time.
And that's all the more reason to support indie guys. It's based out of passion and a love for storytelling and creating. And what better person to trust to throw your hard-earned money at than someone who wants to give you that?
Exactly. Carlos Rafael here says we have to uplift each other as a community, not just in shares and comments, but financially. Connecting publishing communities together creates more readers, more backers, more eyes.
Word.
The term community, right? We're all I don't know. It's like, the rising tide lifts all ships. That's the old adage, right? That's why we just try and help each other out. That's why you hear these people who are knocking others to bring themselves up. I'm like, sorry guys, you're not bringing yourself up by bringing others down. You're actually making yourself look pretty bad.
Actually, kind of making an ass out of yourself when you do
that. And at the very least, you're just not going anywhere. You're still where you are, and now you're alienating people that might have been allies.
Exactly.
Womp womp.
It's the old sour grape.
Aaron here says, I've offered my services to people at a lowered rate to help their brands, being friends or close associates with folks, but some people just don't like the help sometimes. That is true. Some people just don't want the help.
Well, it's tough because there's a wonderful side of the indie community, and then there's the dark side. There's a lot of cliques, like in high school. There are a lot of petty, jealous people that instead of just focusing on what they're doing, they're trying to tear you down, like Jay had mentioned. There are people that don't do things with honor and integrity. Whether it's the artist that didn't fulfill meet their deadline, or took the money and ran, or publishers that didn't pay the artists. You hear these stories all the time, and it's a shame. So now trust is hurt, and trust and some people, they're like, look, I don't even want to take the chance. I don't want to deal with the drama. I don't deal with the nonsense. I'm just going to stay in my lane, do my own thing, and keep my blinders on and look forward. And I don't know if I can blame them. I don't know if it's the best thing to do, but I certainly don't know if I can blame them.
Well, there's something else too. You asked the question, I feel like it was like an hour and a half ago. What hurts Kickstarter, and Phil's making this point, but one unfulfilled campaign on Kickstarter hurts every single Kickstarter.
Exactly.
One poorly shipped book hurts every single Kickstarter. And again, that's why you look at these people who have run the campaigns. Pat Shan runs a campaign. I feel like he's running 2 at a time at the moment. But he fulfills. He comes through on every single one. I myself, whether I'm running a Kickstarter through my own name, like I am with Just the Cane and Podico, or any of the Pilot Studio Kickstarters that I usually have a really strong hand in running, refuse to start the next campaign until the previous one is shipped and all out. I know Justin Gray operates like that as well. And a guy like Pat Shand has done it for so long that he now has the trust in his audience. They know that even if he's running another campaign, their campaign will be fulfilled before they don't have to worry about it. That's building trust.
That's like a machine.
Yeah,
right.
Phil's great. I don't know.
Phil's
been great. I would get his books early on time. Like he's like the one.
Thank you,
dude. Sometimes the campaign ends and you have the book already.
I've been waiting for years and years, months and months to get stuff. But all the indie creators, they always fulfill. Life happens. But I've always gotten Phil's books on time, early. No
I appreciate you saying that, and it's important to me because, like Jay said, man, it's one poorly fulfilled or not fulfilled campaign. It just ruins it for everyone, because then people don't trust Kickstarter, because Kickstarter takes no responsibility whatsoever, even if they take their 11%. So that makes people not trust the platform, and if I'm on that platform, well, that screws me, that screws Jay, that screws everybody.
And that's funny, because some people ask me, like, why are you running Kickstarter? I'm like, I have somewhat of a loyalty to Kickstarter because of the whole Always Punch Nazis incident. Always Punch Nazis, again, the book itself, based on the title, got attacked, and the company, the employee, why? Because people always punch Nazis. They got offended. I mean,
because Nazis got offended, clearly.
I was going to say, who would be defending Nazis?
It was a wild.
I
remember that. That was wild.
Listen, there's a certain group of people out there.
Oh, look at that. Ralph turned on his camera just for that.
And we didn't crash.
He took a hit just to show your book. That's amazing.
Evil Kip is gone. That's all I'm going to say.
He's gone again.
So Phil, I usually, I'll tell this story at conventions when I run into people, but there's a certain section of comics that got offended by the term Always Punch Nazis. They felt like they were being attacked, and they felt like, I don't know, based on,
like people wanted to punch them, maybe?
Like people wanted to punch Nazis. So they band together.
Nazis were the bad guys.
Well, but the part of the story that I learned about a year later, like I was getting messages from Ben Ferrari from Kickstarter, and he's like, can you go online and change this in the campaign? Can you change this in the campaign? I didn't think anything of it. I'm changing things, tweaking the campaign. It's like, all right, we good? Yeah, we're good. All right, we're good. Yeah, we're good. I found out a year later that the attack was happening to Kickstarter themselves, and management took the campaign down. And I had no idea management took the campaign down. The employees actually gathered together and fought for Always Punch Nazis. There's a podcast out there called Kickstarter United, the oral history of the Kickstarter Union. And the second episode brings me to tears because it's all about this incident with Always Punch Nazis. And the employees of the company, like, I couldn't figure out when we were fulfilling why I was sending so many Always Punch Nazis Volume 1 to Kickstarter headquarters. Nothing dawned on me. And when I found out that they not only fought management, they supported the campaign. And then I found out that they formed a union, Kickstarter United Union, because of the Always Punch Nazis incident. So all because of a certain hate group attacking a company, you know, that big tech union, that first tech union, was formed all because of a silly comic book that just launched and, you know, people got offended by.
That's so powerful.
This is what's hurting creativity. When you as a writer, say I wanted to create a racist character, right? It's not me advocating for a racist. It's not me being racist. I'm not the character. I'm creating a world that has real people. And I hate to tell you, if you haven't been aware, in the real world, there are racist people.
No way.
Of all races, whether it's white on black, black on white, Korean, black and Korean, Jewish, whatever. So we're just creating stories and we're putting characters that exist in there to create worlds. It doesn't mean as the writer you advocate for that person's point of view. It doesn't mean that I am that character. We're just writing fictitious beings. And when people get bent out of shape about this stuff and they start trying to cancel and censor you, you're not just censoring that person, you're censoring freedom of speech and creativity. Because what do you want? The same cookie cutter, paper cutout bullshit that's safe and doesn't offend anyone? Because in the real world, there are 330 million people legally and 375 million residents of this country. Don't tell me you're not going to offend somebody.
You know, this sounds like a current South Park episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
Wait, freedom of speech doesn't. That's not how freedom of speech works. What do you mean?
It's funny that you say that, Phil. I remember that I was looking at this book recently, and some people started complaining that the villain was too evil, and I'm like, it's the villain. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
But that's my point. I'm not saying you write the racist. Like, look at American History X. It was about a racist. Was that promoting racism, or were you just creating a story that was putting out a narrative to show you that ugly side of humanity? I mean, if we start censoring that, then what are we doing?
We used to watch All in the Family, and you know. So,
oh yeah.
It was just, I mean, you know,
that would get banned now.
Wow. You know, like, I mean, the joke is that the guy's an idiot. I mean, you know, so, yeah. but like people just get offended at so many things. I feel the worst for comedians, man. I don't know how you tell a joke. You know,
I know.
Simple. I woke up and got out of bed today.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have just carrot top comedians. That's all you can do. Just
take my wife, please. Well, and that's the thing is when you start stifling the freedom of creativity, you're just going to get the same old stuff and it gets bland and boring after a while. Where's the new ideas? Where are the thoughts? You know? So
it's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was like all those banned books, right? I looked at all the banned books and I sat there and I figured out that when I was a kid, I read all those books that are banned right now. Every single one of those books,
like 90% of them suck.
I read them all as a kid.
Listen, I like to show my kids. I call them inappropriate movies from when I was a kid, and it goes with the whole All in the Family thing. And they're like, "Oh yeah, what are we watching?" I'm like, "Guys, we're gonna watch inappropriate movies that are rated PG." And you put on like. We watched Roger Rabbit. My wife's like hitting me. She's like, turn this off. I'm like, no, it's PG. It's PG. She's like, this is horrible. Right. She's like, this is horrible. I'm like, what is PG? We put on Goonies. And she's like, this movie's phenomenal. And she's watching it with us. And the kids are watching it. The kids are losing their mind. But my son will run around still pointing to his boy part saying, you know, oh, it's my mom's favorite part because they did it in the movie. And I'm like, Ryder, you know how inappropriate that is? He's like, you said it was an inappropriate movie, rated PG. So, yeah, I mean.
Well, I do know this. I watched Tom and Jerry blow each other up, and I never thought to blow up a cat.
Yeah.
Me too. Like, you know.
Listen, I love Looney Tunes like the next person.
Normal psychological behavior?
Yeah.
Wait, but what if you think about doing that to a human instead?
It was a cat.
What about doing it to a coyote?
First of all, okay.
I never dropped an animal on any animal.
There's one thing I learned. You push somebody off a cliff, They're gonna float there for 5 seconds and think
Yeah.
about falling.
Yeah.
All that
They're gonna run in the air.
what gravity is. If they don't know what gravity is, they'll just keep walking.
Listen, all I know is that if you point a gun at a duck, the beak is just going to go the other way, but the face is going to stay where it is.
Listen, I learned on this show, if you hop on a cloud and you're pure of heart, you're going to fly.
Well, shit, that's why I haven't flown. That explains a lot.
Well, I don't understand the thought of words are equivalent to violence. Anybody who thinks that has never actually experienced real violence. That's what I'm going to tell you, and I have. And the other thing is this idea of being afraid of words or opinions that even suck is a slippery slope, because freedom allows a-holes to say a-hole things. Just like it allows you to ignore them and not empower them and move on. The only time speech should be dealt with is if it is directly inciting harm to others.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's why you can't yell fire in a theater, because it creates harm. That's why you can't, tell somebody, you with the gun, shoot him in the head, because there is real life harm happening. But if someone expressed hating Irish people, I'm not going to go nuts and try to cancel them because they don't like Irish people. I'm just going to stay away from them and move on.
Yep.
Pete, sleep is for the weak.
I was wondering what
This
Jay
is
was going to
physical
say.
harm. He's not sleeping. He's purposefully avoiding sleep so that way he can be strained tomorrow.
Every time Ralph talks, I take a nap. It's all good.
Oh, that's crazy.
I like that.
Especially when it goes deeper, right? That monotone.
It's the power of the voice.
Baritone.
Don't know.
Soon he's gonna sing us a song, and we're all gonna be asleep.
Making love.
I'm making up for all the sleep that I was in when Pete was in the hospital. I hope you're feeling better, Pete.
We all sleep when Raph talks.
Oh, yes. The beauty of the voice. The beauty of the voice.
Poor Raph, man. You got attacked the second
all
one.
All right, Ralph, come on. Let's hear your best song. Come on, let's go.
I am
Every
not a
time
singer.
I close my eyes.
This voice is the voice what it is, but it is not for singing. I can tell you that.
We don't know that.
I don't know, man.
You've never tried.
Deep
baritone. Oh, I've tried. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. All right, Pete, you go first. I'm going to stick up the thing here on the side.
Yes, please.
I can tell I'm tired. Phil, you go first.
We'll put it up.
Philbo Publishing's latest campaign is Diary of Dread. It's a horror magazine for mature audiences. As you see, it's in the vein of the old EC Comics publications like Creepshow, Vault of Horrors, Tales from the Crypt. It's got twists and turns you won't see coming. It's a 156-page magazine with 5 full stories. It's an anthology, as well as one 10-page preview story from Marvel writer Charles Santino. It's got an amazing art team, color team. There's a black and white version, a color version. We have Tom Mandrake cover that you see right there. He did Batman. He co-created Black Mask. He did Spectre. He did Martian Manhunter. He did Batman and Superman versus Werewolves and Vampires. We've got Ben Templesmith cover, and he did 30 Days of Night, which became a movie. We've got Alex Sarabia, who's done New York Ripper, and we've got Kevin Stewart. So we got 4 covers to choose from. We've got 156 pages of horror the way it was meant to be written.
There you have it, folks. If you like horror, you should check this thing out. It is excellent.
Thank you.
And of course, Mr. J.
All right. We have Just the King, The Adventures of Just the Kane and Podico. It basically is the story of 2 losers who are granted godlike powers. Now they must go on an adventure to prove that they are worthy of these powers by rescuing their childhood hero from the Dungeon of Doom. It is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure meets old school WWF wrestling. Throw some Greek mythology on top, and that's what you got. Evil Kip, I think we've purged Ralph's computer of Evil Kip.
Boogada.
There is a tier, and he claimed last week that he wants his royalties, which
that's right, the tier.
right? But he has a tier up there. He claims he's going to support it. He said if you get this tier, he will record a video message where he insults you hours upon hours. Well, it's probably like a minute, but he will insult you and send you a video of you being insulted by Evil Kip in the Evil Kip character. Now, personally, he claims he's going to fulfill it. I dare someone to back it so he can prove it, because it's Evil Kip. If you back it and he does not fulfill it, I will refund your money, because that's just the type of person I am. I want to see this guy come out there. I want to see this guy send a video insulting whoever it is. If it's my mom, if you're listening, I will refund your money if Francis Kip Stevens is nice to you. This is the same dude that sent you a Christmas card with Black Jesus on it, okay? Now, if you know my mom, you know exactly what kind of reaction she had when that Christmas card came into her possession.
Oh, dear.
It was totally classic. She just looked at him. She's like, "Oh, Francis, you're so evil." Maybe that's where it came from, right then and there. So I basically, I'm putting the dare out there. If you don't want to spend the money on the Evil Kip extravaganza for him to call you up, to take that risk, the Ben Ferrari cover is top notch, limited to 25. So there you go. If you're excited about covers and you really want something that's 25 printed, nothing more ever again, that's the cover for you. I love the Evil Kip cover myself. Just the fact that Kip's laying on the mat, getting an elbow to the back by Justin Hitterpon. Not any other Kips, any Francis's. Nope, Justin, Asian Hitterpon.
Oh, did you hear my suggestion from last week where you throw in a tier where people pay money to send Kip hateful messages?
Not for nothing. I heard that, and I mean, I all you got to do is go to wherever it says comments and put a hateful message on there, no charge.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like a privilege, isn't it?
Yeah,
hilarious.
Just toss that up there. Feel free. It says comments. Click on comments. Right. Hey, Evil Kip, and whatever it is you want to say. But the Evil Kip extravaganza is the way to go. It's basically, I dare him to back up his words. He claims he's going to do it. Old Kip was a man of his word. Evil Kip claims to be a man of his word, but that word tends to be on the evil side of the world. So I'll refund that money if he doesn't fulfill.
That's funny.
There you go, folks. That's a good reason to support, just to see what happens.
Listen, I've done worse. I'm just saying. Let's see. Do you think this is actually going to happen? I don't know. It's worth some money. Let's find out. Oh, man, I've gotten into some trouble with those.
All right, Nat, you ready?
Welcome, everyone, to the lightning round. It's not that long of a list today, so let's get started. Tentacle Kitty got 11 hours to go. If you like tentacle kitties, if you like cats with tentacles, and if you love cottagecore or anything sort of in that realm of field, come check out Tentacle Kitty. Not only do they have this Kickstarter going on, but next week they will be at Anime NYC with their own booth. Following that, we also have Quest 1 and 2 of a D&D inspired epic fantasy Paladin versus Zombies. A Paladin goes off and fights zombies after a 200-year war. It's a pretty decent book based on a D&D campaign. Epic story, wonderful art. Check it out. Then we have Good, the Bad, and the Prehistoric. If you like Midwestern comics with a bunch of dinosaurs, pterodactyls, raptors, and everything else in between, well, this book is just for you. Come check out the Wild West with giant dinosaurs included inside of it. Following that, we got Retail Sunrise, 7 days to go. This is about a guy and his comedic stories as based on his prior engagement within the retail space. It's basically a biography with more comedy inside of it, but who doesn't love that? Then we have Astro, which I won't sit here too long before YouTube detects what even it was, but basically it's a great story with amazing artists and an amazing company right behind it. Then we have Cat Calamia's slice of life anime action adventure. Basically, think of Totally Spies meets anime, mush it all together, and you got an amazing story followed by these wonderful ladies. And finally, Bullet Assassin living in a fantasy world. Basically, this assassin gets sent to another world. She has an MK-47 and 30 bullets to go. She takes down a horde of goblins, and that's how the fate of her life goes. And that has been your Bullet moment.
Yay!
That always amazes me. I mean, always. of course,
Coyote.
look at that. And of course, I want to make sure to remind you guys that Bixby Grant is still there. A beautiful looking book. Who doesn't
He's
like
funded.
mummy detective? Yep, he is funded.
I'm taking full credit for that for him being on the show on Monday.
There you go. He's at 4,914. He's funded. He has 204 backers. So source of the year, you might be right. He might reach what you said.
No, I think he's probably gonna hit like 260. I said 245 before, but I'm thinking in the 260s.
He still has 7 days to go. This looks fantastic. And again, I just said, who doesn't like a mummy detective? And of
I
course,
certainly do.
Exactly. Of course, our friends over at Bad Ink Comics are going to come out with their Kickstarter for Interdimensional. If you love sci-fi, this is the book for you to get. This book looks amazing. I have 2 of the issues already. You guys should go check this out. Of course, what we say here all the time. Go sign up to get notified when this project comes out, because that actually helps out projects. And sometimes they even puts them on a great spot from the get-go. So go sign up to get notified. Interdimensional. You guys know what you want. The art is amazing. The stories are great. And if you like sci-fi, this is the book for you. And it comes in that nice heavy metal, big size magazine form. Who does that anymore?
That's what Diary of Dread is.
Oh, look at that. So
good segue.
Good segue.
It's a big magazine, yeah.
I love those books. I wish they do more of those, because I love heavy metal. I think Phil's looking for it. So anything else before
it's in the car.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's pretty much
bees.
it.
Is that the end of the show?
Just bees.
I mean, next week is anime week. So.
Oh yes. Next week is Anime NYC. This weekend, I will be at Urban Action Showcase on Saturday, and I am hitting Juice on Sunday, which is the Jewish comic exposition.
Oh, I thought you were going to be on drugs. You were just like, I'm hitting Juice. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever gets you.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, wait.
No, dude. He's juicing. All right. Juicing. Okay?
Listen, Ralph likes his lean, so I don't know if you can really get him off that.
I just
we love the Jews. We love the Jews.
We wondered where those arms came from. The gun show was appearing.
Oh my
Lord! It all makes sense. It's all come together. That's why his computer's broken. Roid rage. He's training to take on evil.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I mean juice rage. I'm sorry. Wrong thing.
Turbulent juice.
It's on the gas.
So on this show, we do what I always do. I press the button.